Good afternoon. Today is the 8th of November and there's something we haven't done for quite a while on the channel actually, and that is to answer some viewer questions. Now I'm partly making this video to give all of you some notice to write your questions in the comment section below, so please do that and try to keep them, you know, nice questions, otherwise I'll just have to delete them, which I don't like doing. But also I've got my secret mission documents here, and the reason I'm using them today is not because I'm, you know, making notes about a secret mission that I'm going on, although, you know, we'll have to be doing that quite soon. It's because something I haven't talked about on the channel for about 2.5 years, and some people often kind of say to me, what is your sort of wish list of cars that you haven't actually reviewed but you'd like to? And so I've got about 12 here on this list, and it won't take a particularly long time to go through them. There's probably, you know, a lot more than this, but they're cars that I've wanted to film for quite some time but just haven't had the opportunity to do so. And so if you do own any of these cars, or actually, you know, virtually anything, I mean, don't bother sending me things that are powered by the forbidden fuel, because we don't talk about diesels on this channel. But there's a lot of stuff that does fall into the scope of no budget reviews or sensible second-hand reviews, or classics particularly. So that's, you know, cars up to £5,000. But also we will be having an episode of 2 jacket reviews for Christmas this year. We're not you know, consigning the format to history, and you know, in some ways I wish all the reviews we did were 2 jacket reviews, but because they are expensive and time consuming to film, we don't tend to do too many of those these days. But you know, by all means, some of the cars on this list really aren't eligible for anything other than 2 jacket reviews. So yes, let's have a look at what they are, and in the meantime, don't forget to be, you know, typing your questions in the comment section below, and we'll answer those questions in a video that I'll be filming in 2 days' time, which will be on Wednesday, the 10th of November. Some of the cars that I'm looking to get hold of are quite predictable. One of them is the Chevrolet Lacetti, and you know, I would prefer the saloon version of that, although I have driven a hatchback one. I think it was the 1.6, like the one they had on Top Gear with a reasonably priced car. Sorry, I think that was a 2006, the one that they had. I seem to remember it was an 06. I have driven a hatchback one of that sort of era. I think it was a 1.6. It was all right. It was kind of like driving a slightly tacky Astra H, but that's no surprise because the engines are very similar. So it's the first one, Chevrolet Lacetti. Actually, you know, an Aveo wouldn't be sort of out of the question either, really. Either type of Aveo, because they did make 2 generations of Aveo, and they only stopped selling the second one, I think, in 2020, although it was called the Sonic in North America, that one. The Suzuki Liana, of course, that would be quite a coup to get one of those, because I don't think anybody's really reviewed one on YouTube in this country for quite some time. It's like that Toyota Solar EP70 that I filmed. I looked when I filmed it and I realised no one else had done one in this country, I think, ever. I might be wrong, but most of the reviews for those come from places like Australia and New Zealand. So, you know, that would be quite nice to get hold of one of those. The saloon versions aren't particularly common of Liana. The hatchback was more common, actually, although the hatchback was the one that the saloon was the one they used on Top Gear. I think it was 52 plate, because the sort of new style started in 2002. Related to those is the Chevrolet or Daewoo Nubira, and that's actually what the Lacetti was before it became the Lacetti. I can't remember if I think it was mainly badged as a Daewoo, but I don't remember 100%. I think it could have been badged as Chevrolet for a time, because I think it was 2004 the Chevrolet name replaced Daewoo. So yes, the older Nubira, of course, is something I'd like to do, because I have done the Espero, and I've got another Espero coming up next year, and I've done both versions really of the Nexia, both the manual and auto version. So I'd like to do the Nubira, and also probably the Lanos and the Laganza. The Laganza looks like a particularly nice car, but you know, getting hold of things like this is very difficult because there aren't many left. That's why we put this appeal out. Another car that's very rare is the Suzuki Kizashi. Now that's a car most of you probably have never heard of. It was only sold over here, I think, for 2 years. I think it was about 2011 to 2013. And I discussed this with Justin, who has owned a lot of the Peugeots you might have seen on the channel, although he has worked for Suzuki and Mazda for some time. And so he does occasionally see them, but they were very rare. They were a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder engine, saloon, with 4-wheel drive and a CVT gearbox. So not really the most conventional recipe at the time when, you know, forbidden fuel hatchbacks like Insignias and Mondeos were really the norm for cars in that class. And all the more reason to get hold of one if I can. I don't know how I can do, but you know, I'd like to. Then the Volvo 360 and the 460, particularly the 360. I'm not really that interested in the 340. I'd like to drive the 360. Yeah, if that's possible. GLE or GLT would be preferable for me. And possibly a manual, if that's all right. I know that's a ridiculous sort of wish to have one, but that's really the specification I want to have. 460, I'm not so concerned. I might have a 440 coming up relatively soon, but I'd like to drive a 460 as well. Yeah, I'm a strange person, but that's what I would like to do. Volvo 850, we've done a lot of Volvos on the channel. We've done 240, 740, 940, 960, and we've also done the S60. Done quite a few, but I'd like to do some more. The 850 was a seminal car for Volvo, and really the replacement for the 240 effectively. And when my mother had the 240 that she had for, I think, 11 years, 1990 to 2001, the 850 was the most common courtesy car we used to get from the Volvo garage. Then the Honda Logo, again a really, really rare car in this country, much more common elsewhere. Only sold, I think, for 11 months in this country, from what I can remember. Triumph Acclaim is a car that I've been, you know, wanting to do for some time. I've seen a lot of them around. There are videos reviewing them on YouTube. I would like to do a CD if possible. If it's, you know, it's maybe a ridiculous request, but I have, you know, seen them around. I see them at shows all the time. And having done the SD3 type of a Rover 200 quite recently, I'd also like to do an Acclaim, particularly as our neighbours had an A registration Acclaim from 1984 to around, just get this right, about 1995, I think it was. It's a long time anyway they had that, and it all went a bit frilly and rusty, as most of them did. Next one, Austin Maxi. I've started to kind of have a hankering for the 70s British Leyland stuff, and I know a lot of you are into that stuff, and there's other channels that are into it too, but I'd like to try a Maxi for some reason. Don't know why. I prefer the look of the Maxi too, but you know, really any of them are interesting. Then the Rover 800 Coupé. We have done a Rover 800 on the channel. Mr. Langstaff from Maverick Motors supplied his Rover 820 SI, which is the pre-facelift one, quite recently, about July I think we filmed that for Sensible Secondhand Classics, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed it, but I really want to drive an 800 Coupé now. I think it's sort of, you know, the type of car that I very much like. Beige leather interior would be better. And then a Rover Sterling, particularly maybe the R17 model of Sterling, where it came as a saloon or hatchback. I really like the look of those. The Sterlings were very nicely specified. Some people prefer the Vitesses if you're Alan Partridge. I always prefer the Sterlings. That's, you know, preferable for somebody like me. So there we are. Leave your questions in the comment section below. I will answer those on Wednesday. You know, nice questions, please. And there's the list of the cars I'd like to actually feature on my channel. I don't know if I'll get any of them. If anybody watching who can help out with that, that would be fantastic. I'll leave my email address in the video description so you can actually get in touch with me. That would probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed for watching. I'm sorry if it's not the most exciting video, but I felt I needed to make this anyway. Please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below. Even if you're not going to be asking a question for the upcoming answer video that I'll be filming on Wednesday. And yes, hopefully we can actually get some of these ones for review quite soon. Thank you.